book lovers, it is G-Swizz here, and I'm here today with my January 2022 TBR. Oh my goodness guys, we have made it to January 2022. This might be hard for you guys to believe, but this is the second time I'm filming this video because my former memory card broke. There's no way of uploading that footage onto my computer, and I'm gonna have to film this a second time, but I've made a few changes to my TBR and some have stayed the same. I do have some books that I have concrete plans to read, but also there are some books that I'm just really looking forward to, but also there's some books that I really want to start off this year with. I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna notice a little bit of a difference in some of my TBR videos. I'm incorporating some contemporary now, not young adult contemporary. Maybe one day I might read it for research purposes if I was to ever write a young adult contemporary, but at the moment I'm a 26-year-old and I feel like I relate more to adult contemporary. So I've purchased a few on this back shelf here. I literally just put all the books that I hold on vacation here, but there are gonna be a couple that I do mention in this TBR, but don't worry, I'm still reading fantasy, sci-fi, but mostly fantasy, so not much is gonna be changing. It's more like this year I want to expand my reading tastes, and also it's summertime here in Australia, therefore I'm kind of in the mood for some light fun stuff before I get into the heavy stuff this year. So I guess without further ado, I'm gonna get started with sharing my books. So the first book I want to bring up that is a contemporary is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I am very much looking forward to reading this one. I've heard great things from my friends about this one. So many of my friends really love this book, and I've been putting it off because number one, it's a standalone, and number two, it's a contemporary. And those are two book categories that I never usually reach for. So I was willing to miss out on this one until now. I feel like I have been missing out on the hype for this one for too long. I recently purchased it on vacation, and I am doing the 12 book challenge where 12 friends recommend 12 books, and this happened to be the first one that was recommended to me, and it was recommended by Abby. So I'm very much looking forward to not only reading Red, White, and Royal Blue because I've just hold it, but also because it was directly recommended to me for this challenge. So I'm very much looking forward to hopefully kicking off my year reading this. If not, it will definitely be read this year. Now this one is one that I definitely want to read this month in particular because next month the sequel is coming out, and that, my friends, is House of Earth and Blood, which is the first book in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. This month I plan to read this a third time. The last time I read it, I believe, was in December of 2020. I was rereading it to decide as to what spot it would make in my favorites video for that year. But at the moment I really want to reread this because I want to be freshly recapped before House of Sky and Breath, which will be in my February TBR because that will be coming out in February. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the story will continue, but for this month in particular, I'm really excited to revisit the story because I love the way that Sarah J. Maas built this world, and I just want more out of it, and I don't mind rereading the first book to get more out of it. Okay, this is a book that I missed out on last year. This is the sequel to These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. That is Our Violent Ends, the finale. I've been putting it off because I don't know if I'm ready. I really just don't know if I'm ready. Even though I know what to expect, I have a feeling this book is going to be more romantic than the first book, but in a tragic way. Like it finally gets to the point where it is romantic, and then all of a sudden, you know what happens to Romeo and Juliet. You really know what happens to them. This is what you can expect. So this is the finale. I'm not ready. I think someone ended up spoiling a chapter on Twitter. It was like a spoiler without context, but I just know that I'm going to be destroyed with the rest of the community. Fingers crossed I will complete it this month. If not, it has to be completed sometime this year. But I've just put it on my TBR for this month because the further and further it gets away, the more likely I'm gonna have to read These Violent Delights to remember what happens. And then I have to bring up the Crave series by Tracy Wolff, which consists of Crave, Crush, and Covet. This can be carried on to February. It's not like I immediately have to read the series because I believe Court comes out in March. I do want to catch up, and I do want to recap what has already happened. I remember the series pulling on my heartstrings last year, and I was really enjoying it, but the further and further I get away from the Crave series, the more I realize I just need to relive it. I need to go back into it in order to really sink my teeth into Court. And yeah, oh my goodness, the series is, I believe, going to end this year, even though there's gonna be a spin-off. Cannot wait for that. I don't know if I'm ready to say goodbye to the series, but let's dive in back from the beginning and enjoy our time, shall we? And this book I'm actually currently reading as I'm chatting, and it is a contemporary hurry because it is hot out, and this is definitely something that suits my hemisphere because of the heat. And that, my friends, is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is my first book I'm reading by Tessa Bailey. I hear everyone raving about her books and I just see them everywhere in the bookstores, and I've never really had a gravitation toward adult contemporary romance until this year, or until like December of last year. December of last year is like when I've decided that, okay, it's about time. I'm a 26-year-old. I mean, I don't know if it really has to do with my age, but I don't know. I feel like I'm slowly evolving into growing my reading taste, but at the very same time, it's more just romance based. I don't know. I mean, eventually I will read like adult fantasy again, but yeah, for some reason, I think I'm slowly diving into my adult contemporary romance kick, which I did not ever assume was gonna happen to me. I swore a few years ago I was done with contemporary. But as I said, it's a weird thing to say, but I think I'm at the age where I'm accepting that I like to enjoy the rom-com style kind of book. I'm really enjoying It Happened One Summer at the moment. I actually started it this morning. I really like how plot-driven it is. It's not yet romantically driven. It's focusing on the protagonist and their development in this new town. Very fascinating read. I'm really enjoying the contemporary everyday lifestyle of it. But yes, I believe that by the end of it, or like by the halfway point of it, we're gonna start seeing a lot more romance. There is definitely tension between the two characters, but it's a slow burn. It's pretty strong plot. It's not like too involved in the romance yet, but it will get there. While I'm in summer, I'm enjoying It Happened One Summer. I cannot wait to continue on and let you know what my thoughts are when I do my next monthly wrap up. And the final physical book that I have on my TBR at the moment is actually a graphic novel, and it is Lore Olympus by Rachel Smythe. I have been looking forward to reading this graphic novel series, or like this webtoon series, for a very long time. I actually wanted to read it while it was on Webtoon. The problem is I struggle with the idea of webtoons so much because I look at my phone while I'm either listening to an audiobook or I go into my phone not to read. That's usually my break from reading. I even struggle with ebooks. So a lot of the time when a lot of people ask me if I want to read an advanced reader copy on my phone, I usually kindly decline, only because my phone time is my break time. I like to set it aside as opposed to when I'm reading a physical copy of a book. I guess it could work for my laptop, I don't know. What I do know is that I also struggle with the idea of webtoons, and I don't want to struggle with the idea of webtoons because webtoons are really cool from what I've seen. I've usually gotten a few chapters into certain webtoons and I've just never continued. I think it's because I struggle with the idea of reading on my phone. I'm so happy that Lore Olympus has finally made its way to being a physical copy, and I'm very proud of Rachel Smythe. I've just heard nothing but great things about this series, and I really love its art style. I love that Hades is like blue all the time and Persephone is pink. I love the contrast between the two characters. I'm very much looking forward in seeing how Rachel Smythe is able to write Olympus in her series. You guys also know that I'm Hades and Persephone trash, so like this is perfect for me. And I've got one more book that I do want to share that I do not have the physical copy of yet because it's not out yet. I was just about to pre-order it the other day, but I spent too much money on vacation that I don't know whether I'm going to be receiving it in January or February. Anyway, the third book in the Honey and Ice series. The first book being A Court of Honey and Ash, right? I forgot what the third book is called, but what I do know is that it starts with a crown of petals and ice, or a crown of ice and petals. I don't actually know, but what I do know is that I'm looking forward to this finale, and I don't even want this to be the finale. So I've talked about this on my channel a few times. It kind of feels like a shorter, slimmed down version of House of Earth and Blood, but not. The reason why it gives me those vibes is because the protagonist is half fae, half human. I love exploring this plot with this character so much. I really enjoy the slow burn romance that's going on. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't buying it from the first book, but it got good in the second book, and I'm just looking forward to the third book and seeing how that is actually gonna go. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't want the series ending too quickly, and I don't want the finale to be rushed. But what I do know is that the previous two books are very quick and easy reads, and they're also very fun. I would recommend this if you're wanting an independently published new adult fantasy romance that you haven't yet read. It's a good series, and I feel like it's being overshadowed because of the series name, or like the book's names, because they sound so stereotypically fantasy romance-ish. I mean, A Court of Honey and Ash sounds like you're combining 3 popular book titles into one, but trust me, this series is its own thing and it's really good. I guess that's gonna gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. I hope you enjoyed me talking about my TBR for the very first time this year. What's your TBR for this month? Let me know. If you also happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social medias. I'm at gswizzlebooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok. I'm at gswizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it into double. Started out with half and I flipped it into double.